What is going on, Bulls Nation? So I'm sure you heard about the news that Lonzo Ball might have a third surgery, according to Woj. That really sucks. A big blow for the Bulls, but what does it mean and how should we approach it? All right, the intro just kicked in and I didn't have a chance to ad-lib there, but man, it sucks to be a Bulls fan. Once again, a point guard who's shown promises, although this is not Derrick Rose promise, right? Like Derrick Rose was the youngest MVP, cornerstone of a franchise. Lonzo Ball is not quite in that disappointment level yet, although this is neither of their fault. Injuries does happen, unfortunately. It just happens to be with the Bulls on a point guard with a knee all the time. But what does it mean for the Bulls? You know, what it means for Lonzo. Hopefully he comes back. Hopefully this is not a career-ending injury, although at this point, it's really bleak because no one can tell what is happening. So it just makes sense that he's going to have a third surgery. What does it mean? We were expecting Lonzo at the very least towards beginning of next year, right? Like he's been out for more than a year at that point. So naturally he'll be like, hey, it's not even an ACL. It's just this weird thing that happened to his knee. But no one can figure it out and he's still experiencing some pain. So now if he does have a surgery, that means another pushback of 6 months. That means at most he'll be maybe towards the end or beginning of next year. End of this year, maybe beginning of next year at best, right? Best case possibility. But if not, we might be looking at 2 years that he would miss out, if not more than 2 years that he miss out basketball activities. Now he might be able to come back, but the question is, would he be the same Lonzo Ball? Because we all know Derrick Rose was not the same right after that. He's shown flashes, but he was never the same. Lonzo, his game is a bit different. He's below the rim for the most part. His basketball IQ, but his explosiveness, that affects his defense, his ability to see the court, you know, the way he reacts, his twitch reactions, fast break skills, would that all deter? I mean, you'd be somewhat of an optimist to say no, nothing would change, right? Like I'm sure something would change. If you haven't played in 2 years, that would affect you both mentally and physically, the way you move. As we all know, if we experience Derrick Rose, he moves differently when he comes back. It took a while, but he was never himself back. Never right after that. What are the Bulls' option here? It's very tough for the Bulls because their entire offense, they don't have a generational talent, and Lonzo is the big piece of the cog that makes it all work. That's why when he left, it kind of felt discombobulated. Now, what does it mean for the Bulls? If Lonzo's not going to be back, they should operate under the idea that Lonzo's not going to be back at all. Like you're no longer your point guard. This Bulls team should refocus they got to shift how they think. Now it's going to be Zach is the only guy that you do have, right? Moving with Patrick Williams, Ayo Dosunmu. Now Ayo becomes the point guard of the future. And you should tailor your roster around the younger guys and not with Zach LaVine anymore. Quite honestly, with this news, I think they should just revamp the whole roster. Start off with the young guys. Trade the older assets. Now, how does it work now? We do have, if we apply for the Lonzo, let's say, career-ending injury, and I don't think we're going to get approved for that, but for argument's sake, let's say the Bulls gets approved. This is assuming that we don't sign Nikola Vucevic, right? And then we renounce every free agent, assuming Andre Drummond doesn't pick up his option, Derrick Jones, and also Kobe White. He's a restricted free agent. So we were going to have $85 million in tied up salary. That's including Zach. And then, so the salary cap would increase to 136, so that means we have 51 million to play with. But remember, with that number, we only have Zach, DeMar, Alex, P. Will, not even Ayo on board here, not even Javante. We have no roster basically. So we have 51 million to fill out the roster. That's going to be tough. I don't know how much Ayo is going to command on the free market, right? 51 million, that is nothing. with what, with 3-4 players under contract. Whew, that is not including Patrick Beverly. Nothing. If you think that's a lot, that is nothing. And also, if you're thinking about key free agents for next year, not a whole lot either. It's led by Russell Westbrook, Chris Middleton, James Harden, and Kyrie Irving. Kristaps Porzingis, D'Angelo Russell, Nick Vucevic, Fred VanVleet. If you are gonna submit the fact that Lonzo's not gonna be there anymore, and you applied for that and you get approved, man, we're back to the dark days. Because right now you only have Zach and P. Will. DeMar is gonna be in the last year of his contract. This really puts the Bulls in a tough position. Now, if they are not, and let's say they don't get approved for the player, not disability, but the career ending, are they gonna roll with the same roster, which proved absolutely nothing without Lonzo? We are maybe a play-in, we don't even know yet, at best. And would you really want to run it back, or would you want to start your rebuilding process now? Because I know Arturos AK and Mark Eversley has kind of extended that life not to do it feels like we've been trying to restructure and rebuild this team for a while now, and we kind of sped up that process, but Lonzo's a big piece of that, and now he's gone. He's not going to be back. Even if he does survive this, what's going to happen? So we're in a tough position right now. If I was the Bulls, I'd see what I have with Patrick Williams and Io and maybe Kobe White, and there's nothing. And if there is nothing, and it looks like there is not a whole lot, then you just hope for the best. Watch out those ping pong balls. I know it's gonna suck for the next 4 or 5 years because we don't have our picks anyway, but flip those assets. Flip DeMar, flip Vooch, try to do a sign and trade, flip Zach. Maybe we'll get some ping pong balls in our way, but right now without Lonzo, having Zach, having Vooch, and having DeMar does not make sense, because we've seen it for almost a season and a half now. Without a legit point guard, this roster is nothing. Absolutely nothing, especially with Billy as the head coach. So I would love to hear your thoughts. What would you do with that $51 million? Would you resign Io for X amount of money? Would you sign a star player? Would you just fill this up with young rosters and suck for the next 5-6 years? I would love to hear your thoughts. Thank you for watching. Consider subscribing if you're a Bulls fan. I really appreciate that. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.